did you know there's National Avocado Day? I didn't know. It's July 31st, and Chipotle has a marketing campaign around it. So they're launching a limited time stock market simulation game called Buy the Dip. Now, the fast food chain will give away $200,000 in various cryptos to players. To play the game, users watch a line chart move and have to buy the dip for a chance to win crypto or 1 cent guacamole or queso. So my initial thoughts on the game, what a great way to educate people on the crypto market while having some fun with guac and queso. Will, what are your takes on it?
I don't know. Like, I think it's interesting. It's cool that they're doing something with Bitcoin. It's just tough right now, right? If I was thinking of this from a marketing perspective, which Jen, you always like to tease our brains that way and make us think that way. I would say like stay away from Bitcoin and crypto right now. It's like not the most popular place to be. Like everyone knows about Voyager, or they know about Celsius, or they know about what's happening with Terra Luna, and they don't want to be associated with it. So I'm surprised actually that this went through because of that. At the same time, we do see like this new sort of American trend where it's like, oh, buy the dip, be involved with this. GameStop and all things that happened there really brought in this, I like to say like tech bro or fintech bro culture into the mainstream, where everyone is aware of the gamification of the stock market and the fact that you can be a part of it. Anyone can be a part of it. Anyone can download Robinhood and be a part of it. And so I do see from that angle that Chipotle is jumping on with this. We see that in March 2021, they also did something around this where they gave out like $100,000 worth of Bitcoin and a bunch of burritos. So, you know, to them, maybe it's just a continuation of the old strategy. But if I was looking at it and I was like in mainstream culture, I'd be like, I'll stay away from Bitcoin for 2 or 3 years. David, I'll throw it over to you for your take.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it's pretty likely that this was in the planning stages well before everything collapsed. And you know, it is interesting that they've gone ahead with it regardless, but presumably there was some real work that went into this, and they kind of like probably, I'm going to take a while, I'm just speculating here, but they probably rebranded it from something like grab the bull by the horns to buy the dip, which is, you know, a more, you know,
I don't know,
timing
David.
appropriate.
Dips go with burritos so well.
Well, that is true.
I'm with David on this one.
Maybe you really do have the marketing brain. But the high level thing I was going to say is just like 2 points. First, I am 100% going to go do this myself as soon as we get off here, because I am a sucker for some Chipotle and cheap guacamole. You can't say no. The second point is I really don't like this. I don't think it's a good thing. And you know, Will, you have the you know, second order thinking of, well, this is a little dicey right now. But more generally, I think this is part of the much bigger trend of like the Robinhoodification, GameStopification of like culture and finance. And ultimately, I think it is pretty irresponsible messaging, because I think people have come to, and maybe they're going to learn their lesson the hard way. And I think a lot of people have, but I think people have come to regard finance as like a game or something that you can just dabble in. And it's been, you know, decades now of us trying in the finance industry, those of us who are responsible at least, to convey to people that like day trading is not something that you should dabble with as an amateur. Like all of this stuff can go to zero. Crypto in particular is a very high risk and almost entirely speculative asset still at this point. And so I don't like certain parts of that message in terms of the way that it's shaping people's behavior and thinking about financial markets. But Jen, go for it.
Yeah, I completely agree with both of you that maybe teaching people the very basic fundamentals of trading is not responsible. But on the other hand, I think creating educational platforms during a bear market is smart. And so maybe it wasn't the best way to go about it. But if Chipotle were to follow this up with more educational content and educational gamification when it came to crypto, I think that would be really smart, right? Because they've they've been very prevalent in the metaverse. I think they have something in Roblox where you can roll virtual burritos, and then that turns into some kind of like Chipotle currency that then you can spend at real Chipotle stores.
Oh God!
And so
have we been sucked into the metaverse minute? Is it happening?
Yes, it's finally happening. And so I think shying away completely from crypto just because it's a bear market would not be smart, because they accept crypto in their stores. And so educating that mainstream user is important and smart. Maybe teaching them how to follow a line chart isn't, but I think it's kind of cool. And you guys are being a little hard on Chipotle, and I'm going to go play this game and hopefully win a burrito.
I mean, I will just say one more thing. I'm not trying to be hard on Chipotle. I don't hate this per se. I guess
can be.
Maybe.
Well, David, why is this where you draw the line?
In a lot of
you
forms.
are harsh on everyone, and now you're really not trying to be hard on Chipotle.
Well, let me just call out one specific thing, which is this rhetoric of buy the dip, right? And buy the dip implies that it is a dip that is going to then go back up. And that is absolutely not how it works most of the time. Most of the time, when an asset is going to, maybe not most of the time, but very often, when an asset sees a sharp decline, it's because people have changed their mind about it. They've learned something new, and they don't want it anymore. And so, buy the dip implies it's going to go back up. That's not necessarily the case. You could just be buying the first part of a continued decline, and you're going to lose the rest of your money too. So, be careful with that rhetoric, I guess I would say, Chipotle.
All right. Well, this segment was not sponsored, but it could have been. So if you work at Chipotle and want to get us that
sponsor
burrito
us.
money,
We'll be nicer.
Yeah, have your exactly. Have your people call our people.
Conversation.
Just kidding. We don't do that.
This is all a joke. This is not an actual invitation for Chipotle.
Yeah.
You cannot influence our coverage.